Hello there, peoples. Welcome, or welcome back, to 614 Punch, the show about the fighting game community in Columbus. I'm Felicia, aka Kakro Princess, and I host the show with my friend Travis, aka Felicia Sin. This is episode 6, playing at locals versus playing at majors. In this episode, we have brought together Christian Reyes, aka Hitman, Dominic, aka Meaninglessname, and Antonio, aka 151, as we discuss some of the main differences between playing at your locals versus playing at your majors, share some of our favorite tournament stories, and offer advice to those that are not sure about taking that first step. We're also going to be addressing some of the major problems some people may have with going to majors, and hopefully can encourage players to go out to that big event, whether it be Combo Breaker or Evo, or just that big event happening nearby. So get ready and enjoy the show. And now, for tradition here on 614 Punch, we're going to introduce all the new people, the scrubs, the people that don't know what they're doing. Actually, these people really do know what they're doing. They're pretty good fighting game players. First, we have Christian Reyes, a.k.a. Hitman.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Name's xxOne Hitman. I'm a professional Street Fighter V player and formerly sponsored.
I guess he must not be good if he's only formerly sponsored.
Yeah, like
I'm just kidding, man. You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
I'll get to that later on.
Okay, and then up next we have Dominic, aka Meaninglessname, aka the most important person in the world, as he likes to introduce himself by.
I did not like to introduce myself like that. I cannot make jokes around you. You'll take them seriously. I'm
messing with you.
Well, to toot my own horn, I'll describe myself as an up-and-coming Columbus Tekken player, but mainly I've played Smash Bros. For years, starting with Melee when Brawl was dying, all of Smash 4, now Smash Ultimate, but I'm also been playing a lot more Tekken recently, as well as BlazBlue Cross Tag, since that patch is finally coming out in a few days. We'll get back into that game. Boy, they really should have not had a 4 months wait between announcing the patch notes and releasing the patch. And I also play a couple other weird anime games like Nitro Plus Blasters, Arcana Heart, and Catherine.
Nice. And then last but not least, we have Antonio, aka I forget how you like to pronounce your gamer tag.
151.
151. Thank you. Go ahead and introduce yourself, dude.
Yeah, so I'm Antonio, 151. I'm a Tekken player by nature, but I've been getting into a lot of other things lately. Gone to the scene probably last year or so, but I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 1. And glad to be here.
Do you play any Soul Calibur at all? I feel like I've seen you pick up that a little bit.
Yeah, I play Soul Cal. I made Astaroth.
Okay,
so I'm
gotcha.
like the only guy one of the only guys that made Astaroth. I think I've seen one other dude play him, but he was like dabbling in him, but not really playing him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was Necromancer.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, Necromancer was playing. He played like Astaroth 1 week, but he really is like a Zasalamel main.
Fun fact, 151 plays on an Xbox One controller.
I do play on an X. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I play on Xbox. Everybody else is PS4. I play Xbox and bring my Xbox controller to tournaments with my Pink Brooks converter.
Yeah, thankfully there's converters because almost no one at tournaments is playing on on Xbox. It's almost all PS4.
Unless it's Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a lesson I learned at one of my first majors.
Well, I guess that's something we'll give it to talk about. So, guys, this episode is all about playing at locals versus playing at majors. Now, I think everybody here has played at. I'm defining major as an event outside of your locals that had at least like 50 people entered. I'm sure everybody here has been to at least one or two of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
If we hadn't and we still wanted to be on this podcast for this episode, I don't know what we were thinking.
Yeah, but the thought is, I think we could all agree that outside of taking the very first step into getting into competitive fighting games, the hardest step for most new players to take is that step from going to locals to going to a big tournament. And it's primarily for two reasons. I think it's primarily for two reasons that we'll talk a bit about later. The first is feeling intimidating at events, and the thought of, I'll just get O2'd, so why bother? I'm assuming y'all would agree with that.
That is a thing.
Yeah,
I'll go.
I think that's a general. I have a different take on that one. Like for me personally.
I also have a really different take on that one. If you want to go first, Hitman.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be getting to those points in a second. I want to talk about everybody's experiences at majors first, then kind of save those points for the end.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to do those points first. I guess
if we're talking about our experiences at majors, I think my point would be sort of relevant because my first tournament experience was at a major.
Oh, nice.
You see, I think one thing majors have going for them for new players is that you will actually hear about them beforehand. The first major tournament I went to was a Smash tournament Shuffle 6 in Columbus, right on campus where I already was, so that was extremely convenient. And at this point, I didn't even know where the Smash locals were in Columbus, because I wasn't in the scene yet. I wasn't really in the scene until after I'd gone to a tournament, and I only knew about a tournament because it was a big major tournament. The previous version of Shuffle, the year before, had gotten thousands and thousands of people to watch it on stream because they were big top name players there. And I think that's just... Sorry, So my first experience was at a major, and obviously that skewed my perception of it, but also didn't have to travel to it, so, yeah.
Okay. I guess, well, that does kind of get into the first point. What was the first major you attended, and how did you feel? I mean, is there any other points you'd want to say on that?
I think that people were pretty welcoming to the community there, like you'd think they would be at a local, but also, since I was absolutely pot fodder, I also had a lot of time just to hang out and play with people, which is not always people's experience at majors, because if you actually know what's going on, you might have a whole lot of things you're trying to do and just be overwhelmed by how much stuff is going on over such a long period of time. Whereas at Shuffle, since I didn't even have to travel, I could just kind of leave whenever I wanted to and literally walk home.
I guess, Christian, you want to go next? The first major you attended, how did you feel while you were there?
The first major I attended, I think it was Combo Breaker. It was Combo Breaker. I was actually supposed to go to NEC, but I had some health issues. But besides
What year was that you went?
Combo Breaker last year was my first
major.
major.
So that was your first major just last year. That's cool.
Yes. And I was already seasoned at that point with in terms of competing at the locals, monthlies, even regionals at that point. And I want to get to that later on, how I led to the major, because I had the big goal was to perform at majors, but then I had my sub goals. But my performance, my experience, I think it was a great event because you had the 24-hour venue going on. Me, I got PTSD. So I kind of look at the overall, it was a great event. For me, it was on and off because with big crowds, I get triggers sometimes, so I had to go outside a lot. But outside of that, the event was great. Anything that you could think of that's there, for an FGC event, there everybody's competing, you're networking, you're seeing people from different states, cities, countries, and people who may have you ran into online that you never seen before, and you're like, oh, we actually get to meet after playing each other all these years. It's just it's pretty cool. It's almost like a reunion in a way sometimes. You see everybody together and we catch up like where we picked off. But it was fun.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest parts for me for going to Combo Breaker because I've been in the fighting game community since 2012, but that was mostly online. So when I went to Combo Breaker for the first time, it's like, man, I've known you for 6 years, but I've never met you in person. So this is kind of cool that we get to meet.
Yeah.
So Combo Breaker 18 was your first major as well?
Mine was Combo Breaker 20. Well, oh no, my first major was before that. It was before Combo Breaker was even Combo Breaker. It was back when it was called Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament. I went to Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament 9, which was in Chicago. That was before that basically spun off into Combo Breaker. But yeah,
okay.
My first major was Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament 9. I'm just going to call it UFGT because that's a lot to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, that was around the time when I was was heavily in the anime games, so I went to play Skullgirls. I went to play Persona 4 Arena. I think I played a little Dive Kick when I was there. But yeah, it's just like the coolest part was just meeting people that I had already known, but I've only known from online. So that was like probably the most memorable part of being at a major for me.
How about you, Antonio? Your first major you attended, and how did you feel while you were there?
The first major I attended was final round last year. I
Okay.
actually went by myself because I was supposed to go with somebody. That's how I wound up finding out about it. I had another friend who was big into like going to majors and things like that, and he told me like, it was in Atlanta, so that was a nice place. I had family down there. I went down there. He wound up backing out at the last minute, so I was kind of nervous going down there by myself. But from what I heard about the FGC, that people are pretty cool. Like you get down there, you can like just talk to people, and that's kind of what happened. So I went down there, started talking to people, had a good time, learned some lessons about bringing your own equipment and making sure it works before you get there. I had to wind up borrowing somebody's controller. I had to use a PlayStation controller. Like you see, like I told you, I play on Xbox controller, so I was kind of messed up playing Tekken on a PlayStation controller. But that was a lesson learned about going to majors, making sure you have your equipment and everything, your sync cables, your converters, your controller, everything right. I met some really cool people down there because of that situation, who let me borrow a controller, and then we wound up hanging out for the weekend. And that's how I actually got to my second major. I went to Evo a few months later because of the dudes I met when I went to final round. So that whole situation was really cool for me, and getting into that. And that kind of stemmed it because like going to that major was like me first getting into like really competitive gaming. And
Right.
then that led me getting into my local. Because when I went to Evo, I met Rob TV. Rob TV put me on to you guys. And it's kind of like, that's how I got here from that first major of going to final round, and kind of led me at a back road to get to like my locals and things like that, and kind of stay in a competitive scene at, in the FGC.
Oh, so you also didn't go to locals before majors?
I did not go to locals before majors. Like I had done something little, but years ago. Like I'm 35, man. I'm old. Like I guess in fighting game community system, I'm old. So I think
You're not. At least you're not graying like Valle.
I'm bald. I'm bald, and I just don't cut my hair, so I'll never go gray.
Exactly.
If I start to go gray, I can always just cut my beard. Like just cut my beard, cut my hair. Like I'm not gray, bro. What are you talking about?
Shit, my ass will be 37, so my ass will be 37.
Yeah, that's
next
why.
month.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like me and Hitman get along so well, I think, because we're like the old heads of the group, and we get along really well. But yeah, I did that, and I think the first local kind of thing I went to, I think I was like 15 or 16. It was at one of my local arcades when I was in New Jersey. It's a spot called 8 on a Break. They actually still do a lot of local stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of them actually. That was one of the first fighting game streams I saw.
Yeah, because I think that's kind of where it was close to New York. So I think Justin Wong's been there. That's like one of the bigger names that's kind of been through there. But that was like when I was there, and he was coming through there. But that was before, I guess, it really blew up and people could really like stream it, and you could watch it without being there. You know what I mean?
So that would have been like 99, right?
Yeah, that was right when I was about to graduate high school. So, yep, 98, 99.
So that's like when Third Strike was brand new, and KOF 98 had only been out for a year. That's kind of a crazy thought.
Time
honestly.
flies. Time
I mean,
really
Third
flies.
Strike just turned 20 the other day as we're recording this.
Yeah,
I
Street
told you,
Fighter's
man.
been around for a
Man,
long
we're
time.
old, Bell. We're old.
I used to be
Street
in the
Fighter, one of the
arcades.
first, that's
Oh
one of the
my
first
God.
fighting games I learned on. Street Fighter 2 Turbo at the arcade, and then you get it on console, and now you're playing it on Super Nintendo, and then next thing come out, and it all builds into something greater. And then now you're like, especially back in the day when you couldn't just get online and hop online and go fight somebody.
Right.
Like, you had to go to locals. You had to find like an arcade and go fight people if you wanted to be like, I want to test my skill against somebody else. Me fighting and just destroying the computer is not the thing to do. Me getting my friends to come over and blowing them out the water is not something I want to keep doing. Like, I want to find people who are as good as me or better, so I can keep evolving. And that's, how we get here.
Yeah, that's definitely the old school mentality, to piggyback off that. Like, I used to go to the arcades back in Bronx, New York. I want to say, now I've been in the arcade scene since like the 80s, like elementary school days, but competitively, 91, when Street Fighter 2 World Warrior came out, the first edition of it, I used to get visitations to see my mother. And I lived in another spot, but like my mom used to take me to the corner store, like in the bodega, and there'll be Street Fighter 2 right there, and there'll be some good players. And we was just like, but it gets kind of crazy. Like, there's been fights before, but like I've been in, like New York City was like considered one of the heart, like, like almost like the heart of where the FGC, but every scene got it, like every, East Coast, West, South, like everywhere. But like there's video stores, like everywhere you go, there was arcades. You go to a local video store, freaking Nathan's Hot Dogs and freaking Yonkers, New York, and they had everything. They had Street Fighter 2 in the projector, and I never hit any like tournaments there, but like it was a lot of strong people, and there was always that one gatekeeper in every area that you went. And I actually apply some of that to today's, like the way I train and stuff.
Nice.
So, Felicia, what was the first major you attended?
Well, it was Combo Breaker 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, that was so I've been playing fighting games since I was like 15, 16, but I only started playing competitively in like the spring of 17. After kind of getting my feet wet in locals, everybody was telling me like Combo Breaker is the place to go. So I signed up for it, and I went with my best friend Ty, and then a guy that I worked with at an older job, not realizing he was a fighting game player until then,
Okay.
which is crazy. So I went, and I remember thinking, I'd love to get out of my pools, but I'm really just going to learn. And I will say Combo Breaker 18, that was the happiest I had personally felt in a very long time, like since middle school. So just the weekend spending all that time playing games, I got to meet a lot of people who taught me cool things. Like I only lasted like maybe 10, 15 minutes tops in all my pools. So I played a lot of casuals. I got to talk to the artists. I got to know the people at Paradise Arcade. So it was mostly a social thing for me. So it really made me feel great because the social aspect is one of the best parts of fighting games.
Oh yeah. Majors are just like, honestly, when I go, I enter, like I only play seriously 2 or 3 games, and then it's like, all right, I'm done with my games. Like, let's go drink. Let's go like play casuals. Let's go see what's up in the city. Like it's more about the social aspect than the games to me.
And I think a lot would agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So how many majors has everybody attended? I've attended Combo and Frosty Faustings. I mean, unless you want to count all the times I've gone to Game Arena, not Game Arena. Hitman. Where's the venue we always play at in Cleveland, like every other month?
No, do you mean like Reflex, One Life to Play?
Reflex. Thank you.
Yeah, like to me, those are like the monthlies. Like I break them down, and like you got the weeklies and the local events, like the weekly and bi-weekly. 16-bit, Donatos, Game Arena, etc. Those, are just the weeklies. We got the monthlies with Outer Haven, Queen City Fights, Godlike, which now they're doing weeklies now. And then the next tier above that is the regionals, like like the regionals that aren't officially pro, but a lot of people from different states from that area are attending. And then you got the pro series, like the Combo Breakers and.
Okay, so if we're going by like pro series, I've been to 2, Combo Breaker 18 and Frosty Faustings. How many have you been to?
Oh, who, me?
Yeah, sorry, I probably should have said your name. My bad.
Yeah, you did do that.
NEC, I actually been to a lot, but pros tournaments, I'll say 5 or 6.
Okay. Dominic, how about you?
Well, I don't know if I've been to 1 Frosty Faustings. I've been to I don't really know if I don't know if you would call the Smash tournaments, the shuffles in Columbus majors. After the first one, they really weren't. I mean, they still had like 300 people at them, but it wasn't like a national level talent.
I still call that a major, 300 people. Just
Yeah, but at the
I
same
agree.
time, it's Smash, so we just get people coming out of the woodwork anyway. I guess Shuffle 8 had Mewtwo King and that one really good Meta Knight at it, so that was probably counted as a major.
So yeah, consider it a major.
Shit,
And then
I'll
I've
tell you
been-
that next
so-
level. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I went to one Frosty Faustings. I've been to Michigan Masters twice. Michigan Masters is an amazing tournament, by the way.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
forgot.
Like, and that I'd say Michigan Masters counts as a major because
Yeah.
for the games that I was entering, it was
Absolutely.
Definitely,
like
definitely.
it's one of the 3 biggest Catherine tournaments of the year. One of the 3 total Arcana Heart tournaments last year. So it's a major for those games. Maybe it's not. It's not a Tekken major, but it gets people from all over the country to come for certain games. So that probably counts as a major.
So yeah, even if you don't count Smash Shuffle, you've still been to 3, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Travis, how many have you been to?
I've been to. Let me count them up here. I've been to 2 UFGTs when I was still a thing, 2 combo breakers,
Okay.
and Michigan Masters one time.
Mhm.
Unless I'm missing any, I think that's it. That would be 5.
Yeah. And then Antonio, how about you?
I've been to 3. I've been to Final Round twice and Evo.
Well, you've also been to Combo Breaker, right? Or not Combo Breaker. Last round.
Final round is the
Final
last
round.
I think.
Final
Yeah.
round. Yeah, final round. Yeah, I said final round twice. Yeah, I've been to I went to final round this year. I went to final round last year, and I went to Evo last year.
So you've been to 5. Nice.
Oh, I also have been to one of the big houses, the Smash tournament up in Michigan.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
yeah. those are
definitely
sick tournaments.
definitely an actual major. That's 2,000 people.
Yeesh. That's
I
like
know.
that's 2/3 of the attendance of Combo Breaker this year just for
Yeah,
Smash.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a lot of Smash players all in one place.
All right, so to the audience at home, if you could keep track of how many it actually is, how many we've been to, I guess with that mentality, like how many you've been to, how would you say your preparation or what you do at majors has changed over the years, or like over the different times you've gone? Like, how has your perception of it, or what you did to prepare versus what you did there, changed from like your first major to now? We'll start again with Hitman.
Okay, like when I went to my first major combo breaker, the preparation, I wasn't really note taking, but I was doing a lot of theory fighting, and I was like training. Like I felt like I was overtraining, and I was more focused on the competitive aspect until the tournament was over and I had my fun. But now I'm going to combo breaker this year, and I'm actually on a winding down period right now in terms of balancing. So I'm actually going there to have fun. Like I'm playing Street Fighter 5 when I want. I'm playing Mortal Kombat when I want. I'm not forcing myself to train. But one thing that has prepared me that I feel that I'm ready. I'm not ready in terms of like all the frame data and all like, all the small minuscule stuff that can make a difference between winning and losing. But I have learned to be stronger mentally. Like I feel like I'm mentally prepared. Like I don't get that nervous in tournaments like anymore, like in bigger tournaments. And it still happens once in a while, like when you get your chest pumping in that heart pounding matchup, it's like, oh shit. Like it's kind of like when I used to go like, sparring or something, like before the fight happens, like you got that adrenaline rush going through.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get less of that. So I feel like there's a balance of loss of passion because I've been going to so many events, but at the same time, it's a combination of loss of passion, but like kind of I'm no selling to myself. Like, it's just whatever. It's another tournament for me now. But I think it's an advantage for me too, because I'm committing to my game plan now instead of like getting nervous and like, crumbling and not playing my game plan and leaving the tournament with a little bit of regret. I got to say these major tournaments that I went to now, the most recent ones with my new way of training, I have done a lot better than any of them that I've done before. This year's been a good year for me, actually.
All right. How about you, Dominic?
I don't know. I don't really feel like I'm able to take myself. My goal is obviously the whole reason to go to anything is to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still try to win when I'm there, but if I didn't enjoy the whole experience, I wouldn't go back. And I'm able to just have more fun each time I go to stuff, but I think it's partially because I'm just meeting more people who I can hang out with and talk to in the times when I'm not playing. Like first, like I said, first major I went to was Shuffle in Columbus, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing because I was a new player, so that kind of different. I also had the typical new player thought process of, I can definitely beat some of these people.
I think everybody would agree here. We've all had that experience at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, they seated me real low, but that's only because they don't know who I am.
They seated me almost last place in April Annihilation. I'm just like that.
Yeah.
Events
So,
for nothing.
I didn't just go 0-2. It was round robin pool, so I went like 0-6.
Oof.
Oh man.
But since then, I mean, my goal at pretty much any tournament I travel to is that I don't want to go 0-2. For basically any game I enter, if I'm going to pay money to enter it and travel to it, I'm probably going to be something I think I could at least beat someone in.
Yeah.
And my goal is to always win a game. And lately, it's been a success because I haven't been just entering random stuff. Though, like at Frosty Faustings, I lost 3-1 in dive kick twice and 2 Sensei Dittos, and that was annoying. Because I felt like I didn't know how to play a mirror match, and so I lost twice. But generally, I am happy with my own performance if I can win at least a game of anything I enter. But it's not really critical to me having fun. Being able to be there and enter and watch all the other stuff going on is what's fun, and I've sort of had that same mindset through the whole time I've been going to tournaments. Sorry, that was a little bit meandering.
No,
no,
that's fine.
That's cool. We meander here.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we do.
It's the point of the
So-
podcast.
So, Travis, how about you? Your experiences, how they've changed, how your mentality or preparation has changed?
My preparation so a big thing about going to tournaments is, and as I've been playing fighting games in general, is now as opposed to when I played 4 or 5 years ago at this point, I try to enter less games. I used to be like, okay, yeah, I love playing Skullgirls. Let's do Skullgirls. Like, I love King of Fighters. Okay, let's do that. I'll play the new game that came out. Let me enter that. But now it's like, okay, I know I have the free time and the patience to study one, 2, maybe 3 games. So when I'm going to a major, I was like, okay, what games am I going to really focus on? And I've like really cut down on my training time and got more focus with that. And I feel like that's helped me a lot because I'm just like, I'm not thinking about switching my brain from how to play one game to another as much. And another big thing that I've done while I'm going to majors is I'm trying to like more the physical aspect. Like I'm trying to find time before games or like after games to like go to the gym or like just go for a walk around the venue, go for a run. Because personally, when I'm like, if I feel like I'm in good physical health, like, or if I just like worked out right before, I play a lot better. So like, I'll try to find like, oh, is there a hotel gym? Is there a pool where like I can just get in a quick workout and it just helps clear my head to play. So it's like being more physically fit is actually helping improve my play in fighting games a little bit. And that's it. I didn't have to meander that much.
And for you, Antonio?
If I'm going in and I'm trying to do something and I'm trying to training, I try to train on like what I feel like my weaker aspects of my game are. That usually punishes things like punishes and grab breaks. I'm the worst grab breaker. If you grab me all day, you'll probably win. But that's one thing that I usually try to work on. But after that, it's just going in and having fun. Like I said, I'm 35. I feel like I'm past my prime. Like I'm going to just have fun, get a couple of wins, not go 0-2, and see at least how far I get. See if I can make it out of pool. See if I can make it to the semifinals. See if I can make it to like winners or losers finals, something like that, and to see how far I can get before I get knocked out. Because I feel like now it's a young man's game. Like there's still old heads around, like me and Christian. But I feel like, the younger generation, the guys who are like 20, 18, 19 and stuff like that are kind of coming up and kind of ruling this thing. And, we're just here to kind of throw a monkey wrench into that a little bit.
Hey,
But,
want to hop on that later on.
But yeah, so when I go in, I'm really going in to kind of do that, prepare for that. And then after that, I'm making plans for the weekend, man. Like whatever city I'm in, I'm making plans for the weekend. So when I went to Atlanta, I made plans, to be in Atlanta, go somewhere, go out, go do something, go have a drink, blow off some steam, because I'm a family man. And when I leave to go on these things, I'm getting away from my family. So I get to kind of, let loose, let my hair hang low, what little or none I have left, and kind of go from there.
I'd say for me, I think I over prepared when I went to Combo Breaker, but also at that point, I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really know half of what I know about fighting games in general. But one thing I was really obsessed with for whatever reason was making sure nobody could I could not have a bad matchup. Blaze Blue was my serious game at the time. Blaze Blue Central Fiction. So I went through like the 2-3 weeks leading up to Combo Breaker. I went through every character tutorial. So I'm like, okay, I know how to fight every character, so nobody can have a bad matchup against me. Not really, because my own play at the time really sucked. I mean, just watch old Burst and Bruce streams. I'm embarrassed to watch them. But at that point, I was just so focused on trying to be super ready and know everything I could. And now, now I'm focused on. I'd have a better idea of what I should be focusing on for my games, but I'm also focusing on things like my mentality and, like Travis mentioned, physicality. And my mentality is now a little bit more into just going there to play and have fun. So, like Travis, there's only 2 games I maybe play seriously, but I signed up for a bunch of others just because I want the thrill of competition and just playing with other people. So I'd say that's how it's really
do
for me.
a bunch of money matches. That's probably what I'm going to do with Combo Breaker.
I might at some point. Problem is, I just don't have a lot of money to spend at the moment, unless someone could take a prepaid card I got from my job.
Money match me for this gift card.
Exactly.
There you go. That's how you
I'll
do
probably be
it.
running some money
Or-
matches too over there.
Or do a money match for air. So I guess now that we've all talked about that, how would you say to kind of help newer players, how would you say your mindset changes between when you play at a local versus when you play at a major? Do you think differently or do anything differently between the two? I guess because you have to play more games usually, or there's a stricter schedule.
That's a
Yeah.
good question. I've been thinking a lot about this one, actually.
Anybody feel like they could go first?
We should
I
probably
could go
just
first.
go in order. Oh, yeah. That's cool.
I was gonna say, because like local scenes to me is new. When I first got here, I was really nervous, but after playing for a while and playing the same people over and over and over again, what I felt is like, it's more playful. Like it's not super serious. Yeah, I paid to enter a tournament, but it's a local, and I pay like $2 or $5 or something like that, and kind of go through it from there. And if I lose, I'm like, oh, there's another one next week. I didn't have to spend a whole bunch of money to get here. Especially with the one in Columbus, because it's right around the corner from my job. So a lot of times, like I'm leaving my job and just coming straight up there, so I'm not even wasting any gas between my house and my
Right.
job. And sometimes, like with that, I may play around, like when we because some guys will come there and they'll be like, I'm working on something with this character, so they won't even use their main. Like they'll go through the whole tournament not using their main, and that's something that you can do at a local because those people and what they're about, and you can say, all right, let me see how I can do with this guy this week and see how far I can take him and see if this is really a viable choice for me to kind of use this guy as a pocket character. So if I come up against one of those matchups that I don't like, or I think this guy doesn't have knowledge with this character, I can always switch. So I've seen that, and I've kind of been able to do that a little bit. I think that's about it. What was the other part of the question?
What is your difference in mindset between locals and majors? I mean, if you
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just that I pay a lot of money to go to a major, and that it's like I kind of just don't want to get 0-2'd. But if I get 0-2'd at a local, it's like, I'll be back next week.
Right.
Yeah, like for me, like going to the locals and stuff. Now, I'm also a late bloomer when it comes to the FGC. I served the Army for 10 years and retired in 2014. I hit my first event. It was local in Cleveland Clash. And to me, that was a big deal because it was my first event. So, but now with the knowledge that I have now, I'm actually kind of course, I'm focusing on still competing. I use my weeklies right now for me to, like I use it to test a few things. Like Antonio was talking about, like you want to try a few things here and there, see if they work. Try a new style combo that you practiced or something, and just add extra layers to your gameplay. But like I'm kind of more focused on the newer players that are coming in. Like when they come in, I want to encourage them to stay because some people may come in and that's their first event. So 16-bit might not be the biggest deal right now for me, in general, because of the other upper scale or bigger tournaments or whatever. But newer players may not know that, and that's their first event. They might think that's the big deal right there, and I want them to feel that, and one of my goals also too, well, I know we're talking experiences and stuff, but like this is what I'm currently doing now is I'm just trying to help. I don't always teach everything, but like when I'm in that mood, like I want to help the other players get better. Like if I see something that they didn't notice and they understand the mechanics of the game, I could correct them. Hey, look, you could have did this instead of that, or he got you with the setup, like just stuff like that. Because like if everybody else in my local scene gets better, it's going to be better for me and better for the whole community. It's going to be more competitive. So like I just want to see, that's one of my focuses. And also too, encouraging the player that went 0-2 that went there for the first time. There's people that come to locals and you don't see them anymore. I'm sure we've all been there where we see that one guy that he just came in and he didn't go. Maybe he got discouraged because he went 0-2 and he didn't connect with nobody. So I try to welcome people like when they come, especially in at least in 16-bit.
Travis, Dominic, you got anything, or do you want me to go next?
I can go.
Okay.
So just the difference between like how you prepare for locals versus majors,
or like the difference in your mindset between the two.
Oh, I probably have a little bit of a different perspective on this because I'm stepping back as a player a little bit. I'm kind of getting more into TOing and commentating, but it's
That's
like
fine.
Yeah, it's just like really for me the difference between locals and majors is from a commentary perspective. If I'm at a major, I try to not swear as much on commentary. try to be a little more polite and professional when I'm talking about the players. But yeah, that's about it really. I don't really have a big difference between how I prepare for either.
Dominic, you want to go next, or you want me to?
I'll say a little bit about like what 151 said. Sorry, I'm now temporarily forgetting what your actual name is. You don't want to. You don't really screw around with secondaries at majors. You try your hardest because you only get one shot, and I've definitely had a few matches and situations where I've thought about them afterwards and thought, man, I really shouldn't have lost that, because you don't get a second chance usually. Sometimes you can run into someone, a year later and have to play them again, but that's a very long aside story. One thing I think it's different about playing at majors versus locals is sometimes at locals you can really play player matchups. Like, especially for a small scene where you may be playing the same person every couple weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know that person's tendencies specifically.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Whereas at majors, you really need to know how to fight the characters, not just the players, because there's a good chance that person at your local, there's just like one good tool a character has that they never use because they just don't use it, and I don't know why. And then you fight someone who uses that tool or that one move, and you lose badly because you have no idea how to deal with it. You thought, man, I thought I knew this matchup. But that sort of goes both ways, though. I think one thing that I've experienced a lot at majors, though this is a somewhat biased opinion because of who I play, is you can get away with a lot more jank at majors because people do not know every matchup. And since I play a lot of characters that aren't necessarily very popular, I can get a lot of stupid janky stuff that will never work at locals because people know how to. Because I use it too much, so people know how to deal with it.
I think mine is not very different from everybody else. Like when I'm at a local, it's more laid back. I spend a lot of time teaching new players. That's something I like to do a lot, is help somebody that's maybe newer to the game figure stuff out. I'll ask for advice. Well, I'll ask for advice in a major, but when a major, competition is fun. I'd say my favorite part of fighting games is like that tension you feel in your chest when like you're watching or you're playing in a match where both players are like about equally skilled and you're really going for it. So when I'm at a major, I'm just in full game mode. I use like a mantra and whatnot to just make sure I am really in the game. And at a local, I'll maybe show mercy if something silly happens, like if someone drops a controller. But I'll be honest, if someone drops a controller in a major, I'd be one of the people that just keeps going. I'm like, sorry, pal, this is the big leagues. I'm going for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess I do a lot more. I do a lot more physical and mental preparation because I know, especially if it's a major that's like out of state, I do a lot more mental preparation, like making sure I have ibuprofen nearby because I have tendonitis. Making sure I have a glove nearby just in case. Have I drank enough water? At a local, can I be like, oh, I forgot to bring water. I'll just run to the convenience store across the street. It's a little easier to do that there. Dominic, were you about to say something?
Oh no! What? Sure, if someone drops their controller, what if you're playing someone who has a fight stick and their fight stick gets unplugged in the middle of the match?
Well, technically,
you take the round. If it's at a major, you take the round.
Yeah, exactly. Like by Evo rules, if you do something to cause a match to stop intentionally or unintentionally, you give that round to that person. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the infamous Gamerby versus
was that the one that Evo finals where his stick just stopped working?
Stick died.
Yeah. No, I was watching that live. That was not good advertising for whatever brand stick he was using.
I think it was Razer.
Yeah, it was Razer.
Okay. That's messed up.
Nice.
That happened to me one time.
Chamba all the way, y'all. The Chamba Obsidian.
I mean, Razer's good now. They fixed that issue. That's still a good stick.
But by far the most grimy version of that I've seen, now granted this was at a local, was a Smash Melee match where someone's controller became unplugged during the match. But the thing is, in Melee, controller being disconnected doesn't pause the game. But when the other... But if you were to pause if the person with the controller still plugged in were to pause the game so their opponent could reconnect, who would have paused?
Lose.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is a good point. Jeez.
Yeah, that's him. If you pause it, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like you said, the rules are if you stop the game, you lose the round.
Current games kind of got it where you gotta hold the pause button now, but if you're playing if you're playing Smash, it's gonna pause.
And current modern consoles, one upside of having to sync controllers incessantly is that if a controller deconnects, it does actually stop the match too. Even the newest Smash game figured that one out finally.
But think about the people that don't unsync their pads. You still see Evo fails of people that don't unsync them.
Yeah, I love those people.
So people, desync your pads.
Yeah, I'm so happy to use a converter because I don't have to. Once I unplug and walk away, that's it. I'm done.
I'm so happy to use a fight stick because once I unplug it and walk away, that's it. I'm done.
Yep.
Done. Yep. Anybody that uses any type of converter, yeah, we are lucky because we don't have to desync anything. We unplug, we walk away. You don't have to worry about us hitting a button, hitting the start or anything, and stopping anything on that console. That's it. Once we unplug, we are no longer connected.
Tournaments would just run better if we just banned DualShocks.
But you can't because it's
I'm
on
yeah,
console. So you
Hey,
I'm always
PlayStation
like,
5's
gotta
coming
be
out
able
soon. They'll
to-
fix
I
it.
got a hardwired controller and
No,
I'm
they
always
won't.
desyncing everybody else.
Yeah, they are
Before my
not.
match because I have to. If I don't,
Right.
somebody's gonna fucking interrupt my shit. But like, it's
Yeah.
always man, desync your controllers, man.
Ah,
Yes.
yes.
All right.
And that's
Uh,
another rule that it's what is it? It's up to the players to desync. After that, the TOs are like, we don't care. Like if you sit down and you don't desync everything, then that's on you.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's usually on the player that's actually starting their match. You know, like you got to do your due diligence and go to settings or whatever on the damn PS4 and just device or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
your
hasn't
shit
Sony
interrupt.
made a desync all function yet? That
They'll
really
fix
needs
it
to be
in
a thing.
PlayStation 5. I trust that they'll fix it.
Because they're making
Okay.
so much money.
If they don't fix it, will you give me $10?
See, but that
You know
hurts
what?
players like me
Okay.
because I don't have a PS4. So when I used to sit down at the thing, I'd have to ask somebody like, "Yo, how do you do this?"
Yeah, I only learned how to do this like 3 weeks ago.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I learn how to do it every time I sit at PS4 and have to do it. After that, I forget how to do it. Then I have to ask somebody the next time. I only retain that information for about 2 minutes while I'm doing it at that very moment, and then after that, it's useless garbage.
Right, just something else fills in. It's like how you forget to do math once you leave school. It's just like there's more important things in my brain right now. Math is out.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, I guess that is a good point. So next up, what do you feel are some common misconceptions about majors? Like anything you think like a newbie might think about an event that's not actually true, whether it's a positive or a negative. Christian, you want to start again?
Yeah. The only thing I could think of, because I'm still semi new in on this thing, probably like 3 years or whatever. The only misconception that I think players are probably getting, and newer players are like based on the stuff that they see in social media. Like for example, just like in any community, it doesn't matter if you work, family, any community, negativity is always going to have more eyes on it than the positive stuff. So that also goes with the FGC. Like if you notice, there'll be like certain incidents and everybody just stops what they're doing and everybody focuses on that. And to me, I think that's a negative aspect. And players who are inexperienced with these tournament scenes may see all the drama stuff that's going on. And they're like, you know, like a lot of people go to these events, in my opinion. I don't know if I could speak for everyone here, is to sometimes vent and kind of put yourself in the FGC world. I like to put myself in the zone. When I'm in a Street Fighter tournament, I want to feel like I'm in the game. I want to feel immersed in the game, in in the scene and everything. Like, you know, I want to take the top guy out. I want to, you know, like I want to whoop you. You know, like that's my mentality, but not in a toxic way. You know, but like players that just see like the negative stuff going on or like incidents and this and that, I think that might throw them away because of the perception of what we view. You know, like the negativity gets more eyes on it than the positive. I don't know if you guys see that, but I see that. I just choose to ignore it because it doesn't apply to me. You know, so
It's kind of like when the crab got thrown at Hungry Box, like those kinds of moments.
To me, no, I wouldn't say that one. You know, like I did see that one, and actually, I thought it was funny, but at the same time, it's hilarious. But at the same time, it is messed up. You know, I don't know if the ban, you know, the lifetime ban reaches matches the punishment, but like no, not really stuff like that. More like just like the drama stuff going on, or this guy said this, or this guy said that, and it's just like, you know, like the hate stuff. Like I can't even pinpoint a certain incident because like to me they're minuscule. Like I'll see it in my feed and I'll just ignore it. I'm just like, I don't got time for that.
Right.
I'm at the age, you know, like I don't got time for negative stuff in my life that is out of my control, you know. So especially if it's not worth putting my 2 cents on it. Like if it's something going on in my scene and I could diffuse it, you know, I'll do that. But like if it's something out of my hands and you know, I'm not really in it. You know, I just mind my business. But I could see where like some of the new players, because I had players like, you know, like for example, me being a Street Fighter guy, like I noticed like just jumping into some of the NRS games, there's a lot of NRS stuff going on, or even like playing online, there's more salt. I'm just like, damn, these, you know, like all of my like I jumped up, I caught myself. I was like, damn, these NRS players are salty. They're saltier than Street Fighter players, but
yeah,
you know,
I
like,
noticed that back when I was I competed a bit in Mortal Kombat X and Injustice, and when I was getting into the NRS scene, I noticed there was a lot more assault incidents, especially online.
Yeah, but they're actually, it's actually great though. Like the NRS scene, the ones that travel and stuff. You see, like I caught myself. That's why I said I checked myself. I'm like, oh, wait. I'm seeing the perception of it, and this is just online. This is not really what the communities are about. The ones that are actually putting in the work. So like I know how to separate that. So so I encourage new players, like if you get caught, like the negative stuff that we see like online and Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, like it's mostly good, like that, like if you actually go to the event that you might be discouraged of going because of the negative stuff, you're not going to even think about that. When you go there, it's going to be fun. I have fun in just about all the events I go to. It doesn't matter if it's Donato, 16-bit, and everything, but like to me that's important. Like if we could realize it, actually experience it yourself.
All right, Dominic, that is definitely a pretty good clip. You can't see this, but when Dominic shared that clip of Justin Wong versus the 8-year-old kid in Mortal Kombat 10, I'm sure most of you listeners know that clip.
Do all you do is
that's
just
an
play
amazing
this
clip.
game all day?
It's an amazing clip.
But I guess, Dominic, do you have thought on that?
I don't have anything more beyond what Hitman said. The drama is usually involving just a couple people. You occasionally get things that blow up and that actually are important. And going back to, but I don't even really want to talk about it, because when there's stuff that actually affects like everyone attending a tournament, like someone just actually walking around being a huge creep to everyone, it gets addressed. And the stupid stuff that blows up on Twitter is just a couple people being assholes to each other.
Yeah,
and occasionally something hilarious like a crab. Like, man, it would be really bad if a player got hurt by someone throwing something from the crowd, but just there was a crab was so hilarious.
I know, it's just like the item of choice, like
right.
A crab.
I could just throw a water bottle or something, but no, I have to send a message. Crustacean.
Okay, now I want an animator on YouTube to like animate you saying that and like animating the person throwing the crab now, because that was pretty great.
Yes, let's get these. Let's get this commissioned soon. I know some artists.
Okay, Travis, you got anything?
So about the the misconceptions about events are just like a thing I had when I was first traveling. I was like, well, if I lose, like I just wasted my time. Like if I go in the tournament and just lose, like what am I supposed to do? Do I just go home? Like no, the tournament is like half or less of the experience. Like after you lose, if you do lose, you need to go play casuals, go see the city, go hang out with friends, because like if you're traveling to a major, you want to like have fun. You're on vacation, Don't just think, oh, I lost to the tournament, my weekend's over. It's like, no, make time to enjoy yourself and have fun. It's not just all about competing if you're traveling.
Antonio?
They pretty much hit everything. I mean, like I said, my first time going out there and going by myself, I didn't have a lot of expectations, but I felt like I was a new player, but with experience. But I was still new to the scene. And so, just go out there, put yourself out there, go out there. I know some people have like hang-ups, especially with what I feel like, video game players. We're all video game players at heart. And what people say a lot about us is that we're kind of introverts.
Yeah.
So when it comes to going out and introducing yourself to people or being in social experiences, that's why we play video games. We play video games because it's a kind of solo experience that we can kind of do to connect to other things. But, when you're going to majors and you're going to locals, these things are offline. So, you know what I mean? So you're going to have people, there's going to be live people there. So, enjoy it. Like Travis said, enjoy the city, meet new people, have experiences, start up a conversation, learn tech. Because if you're a new player and you feel intimidated by it, then quitting at the beginning is never going to get you possibly to where you want to be. or even if that's something you want to be in the community, like, and you're in it, there's always different avenues. Like Travis said, I think Travis said he wants to get more into commentating.
Right.
There's lots of commentators out there. There's lots of other ways to be in the FGC besides just fighting.
I guess what I would say is a common misconception is maybe a bit opposite of what you say. I think a lot of people forget that as much as the going in there and playing games is fun, there are some things you got to remember are not always fun because it is an organized event with lots of people, like getting up early for pools and having to wait around a bit. Like if you're playing a lot of games, especially, I think just remembering that it's not going to be all fun and games. I mean, it's fun and games, but you got to remember it's not always going to be like. So that you got to sit around, wait a minute to get like a pizza that's not that great, wait around for your pools, that kind of. It's a. When I think about it, one of my inspirations when I played percussion was the drummer from Styx, Todd Zuckerman. He has said in multiple interviews he spends more time in in hotels, on planes, etc., than he does behind the drums. So if you're the kind of person who really likes to play the games, you got to remember that sometimes you're going to be spending more time waiting for your match to start, driving to and from, than actually playing. But when there's casuals and whatnot, you'll get to enjoy those. But just keep in mind, have some good reading material, not just like online stuff, because I think a lot of people don't realize data signals, like for your phone, don't go through certain materials like thick concrete well. So unless you can connect to Wi-Fi, you're not going to always get to access Instagram while you're waiting for that one guy that's in the bathroom not being at their pools on time.
Oh, yeah. Yes, running pools. Especially if you run pools, that'll be an issue.
Oh, yes.
Show, man. You call him 3 times. If you don't answer 3 times, DQ. I got DQ'd. I've been DQ'd. It wasn't fun.
I'm gonna feel so DQ'd, and that was.
I'm gonna feel so bad for the people going to the side tournament I'm running at Combo Breaker this year. Combo Breaker will have already passed by the time I release this. But I'm like, if you don't arrive within like 5 minutes of the starting time, I'm probably gonna DQ you because I gotta make sure everything's finished fast enough so that the next people can come in and do their side tournament. So,
oh yeah,
too bad, so sad, y'all. But yeah, I guess that's my main thing is you got to remember it's not always going to be fun in games. There's going to be the sucky moments, but in the end, it's going to be worth it. You never know when you're going to meet. Yeah, you never know when you're going to meet a Mexican guy who out of the blue comes up and say, "Hey, you want to drink hard lemonade and play King of Fighters?" Which is like one of my most hilarious moments from Combo Breaker last year. So that was good. But we'll get more into that later. But now we can talk about the main point. The 2 common reasons I think most newcomers either don't want to go to majors. Oh wait, that really is the only point. Just don't want to go. The first is feeling intimidated by like either by the large crowds or the fact that you've got these players who are like really good, who've been spending years, if not decades, perfecting their craft. And especially if you're like just starting out, you're not sure how to feel. How would you address, Christian, starting off, how would you address that fear or concern to a new player? Like someone who's been playing for, say, less than a year?
You just got to go in and, like I said before, you just got to go in and just have fun, do your thing, play your game. Yeah, just go in, go there with like what we was all saying is like you go in there for the tournament, and once the tournament's over, like if you win, if you lose, most of us end up losing. It's like a lottery pick, but just go there, play your match. Don't put all your eggs in that basket. And when the tournament's over, we all get salty because we are competitors. When we lose and it's over, you need that 5 minutes, cool down a little bit, take a walk, drink water, or whatever it is that you got to do to vent off. And once you do that, you come back and you actually start having fun. You start networking with the people. Like you be humble a little bit, put the ego to the side and be like, damn, I really did lose to some stuff, whether it's mental or you lost to some tech. Play the guy that beat you or something, or like play some other players. There's plenty of people there. Like we got to remember, like, I know it's not just a video game, but like we're having fun. Like to me, we play games to have fun. And I used to be hard on myself in the, like some of the early tournaments, like if I didn't perform well, but that was my ego right there, and I put that to the side, and I go there with a more open mind that if I lose, okay, if I lost to something that I shouldn't have lost to, then I gotta work on preparing better mentally, or do something that, like what you was talking about earlier, like working out, maybe eating right, drinking right, or not eating too. It's just like certain preparation stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, just have some fun. Like that's it. Like enjoy, make the best out of it. For me as a competitor, because I consider myself more of a competitor than a spectator. I try to get in as many games as I can and just keep playing until I can't no more, and then I'll go see the city and network. And I like to bullshit with the guys too. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if I could curse about, but yeah.
Yeah, you can curse. Don't worry.
Well,
I,
bullshit.
I have on the show already.
Okay.
Just make sure Antonio's kids aren't nearby when you say it.
Oh no, they can't hear you guys. They can only hear me. And
Okay,
they're
that's
supposed to be
good.
they're supposed to be in the bed right now. My son has come downstairs like 3 times, and I've sent them back.
Oh, come on! It's only 10 o'clock on a weekend night.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
weekend.
I don't play that. It's still bedtime's still like 8:30, 9:30.
I like that. Going to bed at the same time every night. That's good. That's a good
Yep,
idea.
consistency.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I definitely went to bed at the same time every night. It just was always late because my my dad preferred that we'd actually be awake when he came home from work instead of he'd get home in time to eat dinner and then we'd go straight to bed. So I've been a night owl all my life. Well, that
Okay.
derailed the conversation.
Time early. Yep.
Yep.
A little bit.
Okay. Dominic, you were addressing people feeling intimidated going to their first event.
I mean, I would say that there's not really much. I can see why you'd be intimidated going to your first event. Just overall, honestly, there's really not much different from in a major from a local. You're still gonna go and play the same game. You might, unless you end up playing a really, really, really good player, like your first match in pools. There's really not going to be any difference. There's a lot of people who go to majors that also just really suck at the games and just go anyway to have fun. There's like you're probably not going to just have the experience of running into people who you feel like you could never beat and feeling like you're completely overmatched unless you already feel that way at locals. In which case it's not going to be a particularly different experience. I'll say that majors are really fun if you go there to hang out with people, but if you're sort of just wander around by yourself the whole time, it's going to be wandering around by yourself the whole time in a strange city for 2 days, and you're probably not going to have fun. It really is what you make of it, and I'll just wrap this up because I don't really have a point I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
Travis?
This is going to be different for everybody because like most major tournaments, like so Combo Breaker is coming up and it is a very, very big crowded building you're going to be in. So it's just like if you have any issues with like being in large crowds or just being around too many people at once, you just got to like know what you're getting into, know how many people are going to be there, and just like be ready to like see where the exits are, know when you need to take a break, and like have a friend with you. Just because I think that's the most intimidating part of going to your first major. Just like, wow, they're just like, unless you go to concerts or stuff, like there's just a ton of people here. It might be the most people you've ever been around in a crowd at once. So just like, just use the buddy system if you can, or just know that it's going to be a lot of people densely packed together. But yeah, just be ready for a sort of overwhelming experience. But in the end, it's still fun. Like everybody's there for the same thing, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'll just say it's different experience from like concerts or sporting events because instead of everyone being there to look at one thing, unless it's a tournament that has just like are actually the top 8 in an arena like Evo does, everyone's there trying to achieve their own thing rather than all being there by. I mean, you're all still fans of the same thing, but you're all there with the same goal, but the goal is participatory rather than viewing something.
Yeah.
Antonio, you got anything there?
I mean, yeah, I never thought of it from the way Travis was saying it too, with being prepared that if you're not that into social situations and things like that, because like just go there. I was a little overwhelmed when I went to my first one. There are a lot of people. Sometimes the venues are small, sometimes the venues are big. It all depends on which ones you're at. But just like you said, enjoy yourself. Kind of. I don't want to say just get over it, because that's kind of what the mentality that I used to get through a lot of stuff is like, just like, hey man, just do it, get over it, and see what happens when you get there. And that's kind of how I got to like my first tournament, and I'm glad I did. Because if I would have backed out because I didn't have anybody with me, then I would not have gotten as far as I did, as far as the FGC. So, being intimidated is one thing, and if you can kind of push past that mental block of being intimidated, and like they said, not everybody that goes is as good as you think they are. If you think you're going to get O2, trust me, there's another person there that's thinking they're going to get O2, and maybe you'll get lucky. You guys will be in the same pool, and one of you will at least get a win. Maybe it'll be you.
Right.
But yeah, just getting over a couple of those mental humps, and just putting yourself out there, and enjoying what comes from it.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I also want to add to that, if you guys don't mind. All right,
Go ahead.
Like,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
like to me, the experiences, that's where the experience kicks in. Like if you do get I got anxiety and shit, and PTSD from the big crowds, but I have self-awareness, so I kind of know what I got to do, for myself. But if you do get nervous or you're worried about going 0-2, but here's the thing: when you go to a tournament and if you do go 0-2, it already happened to you. You got that experience under your belt. I went 0-2 in the tournament. Now, if I go, I've been here before. So the more that you like repetition, like the more you keep doing things, the more you get used to it. Yes, you got to lab. Yes, you got to level up and train and all that, and run your sets. But mentally, it's important that you level up mentally and you gain that experience, so that way you can have the confidence to put forth in your game plan. Like, for example, I went to next level. The last time I went to next level, I lost to Arturo Sanchez. I made top 8, and but you know what? I wasn't even disappointed. I went 0-2 in that match, by the way. And it could have went either way. It was one of those close matches, but I walked away with my head held whatever up high and all that, because I committed to my game plan and I had the confidence. I was not nervous. I had the confidence to go with my game plan. Now, it didn't work. I should have did a different game plan, but I had that experience to follow through with my plan. The thing is like, we could train at home all we want, but once we get into that tournament zone, it happens to all of us. It has to, where you just get nervous and all the skills just go away. And for me, sometimes I feel like I don't even know how to play the game sometimes at my worst.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do I play this again? How do I block? So the more you do something, the more you get used to it. You've never been on stream before, and it's the first time you're on stream. That one, just deal with it. You're on stream. You'll be on stream again. Because once you go to a major, you're going to start learning about all these locals, just like some of us have learned. That's the networking part. And you get to put yourself in that situation over and over again, where you can
to wear second nature.
Yep,
and then it gets second nature.
You want going on stream to feel like you're taking a piss in the morning. That's the level. Like I talk about experience. Like when you feel the comfort of going to sleep, waking up, doing your daily routines. If you got that comfort level in a tournament, without the complacency, you'll start, getting better mentally. And
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I didn't tell the story. Like I was that guy. I was that guy. I went. I felt intimidated. Thought I was gonna go 0-2. Went 0-2. I went 0-2 at my first major. I went 0-2 at final round that first year I went, and I still went to Evo without a problem because of the people I met and the experiences that I had. I still went to another major without a problem. Went 3-2 that time because I was like, I'm not going 0-2 again.
Hell
and
yeah.
like they said, I trained and I got that mental fortitude, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going 0-2 again. I'm gonna beat somebody. So yeah, so I was that guy, like going 0-2 in a major, getting knocked out in the first round, and just kind of hanging out for the weekend, and gaining experience and things like that, and then going back to a second one, and then doing a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's also addresses the other point that the reason a lot of newcomers don't go to events or don't want to go to events is I'll just get O2'd, so why bother? And I think to that, I would say when you go to your first event and maybe even like your first few, say you're going there to learn and don't worry about the victories. I mean, have like a plan to help you calm down, because I think a lot of us would agree, even if we know we're not gonna get very far in a bracket,
You're gonna be nervous.
Yeah,
or you're gonna
definitely.
or you're gonna be frustrated afterwards when you do get knocked out. So having like a plan, like for me, pacing and just putting on headphones so no one will talk to me helps me out with stuff like that. But just going to learn, say you're going to learn rather than to win. My friend Amy, who's a good anime fighter player, she once said, don't think of it as, oh, I can't win. Think of it as like, oh, it would be nice if I won. A more positive way of thinking it. Then just play your best. And if you learn something, that's more important. I mean, to quote Ryu from Third Strike, a loss learned from is more important than an empty victory. I have a journal I take with me everywhere. Even if I just get like 2 quick tips from an event where I just get totally creamed, then I know that means it's going to be more experience for the next time. And I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, like I want to add one more thing to that.
Go for it.
If you're going into a tournament thinking that you're going 0-2, that's the part where you take off the lenses, the tunnel vision lenses, and look at the overall big picture. If you're feeling like that, chances are someone else is feeling like that. Look at the other lens of the pro players too. They had to endure that too. I guarantee you, at least half of those pros that are up there, the consistent ones that we see all the time in the top 8, they had to have their humble beginnings too. Somebody beat them up at a tournament. Somebody
Yes.
probably made them.
Right.
Somebody beat up somebody.
Perfect. They are not
No.
perfect.
Everybody had to start somewhere.
Exactly. And if you put the time and effort, like if you put the time on it, you'll get to that level. But like we're in the same boat here. Yeah, that's all I got on that.
I don't know. Anybody else want to make a point on the I'll just get O2'd, so why bother concern that I think a lot of new players have?
It's kind of like what I said earlier. If you're traveling to a tournament, you're on vacation. Go have fun. The tournament's over. Don't dwell on it all weekend. Go relax.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, sorry. Did you have a point, Dominic?
No, I was just agreeing. I don't have anything else to add to this point.
All right, then I think we can go to what has been your favorite. Let's say everybody share 1 or 2 of your favorite memories from a majors, even if they don't involve actually playing at the tournament. Christian, why don't you go first?
Wow.
Unless do you need a second?
It's just so much. I will say, wow, it's just so many great moments. It's I'll say the most memorable, that was the most impactful, because I think my stock rose without me even trying to raise my stock, was when I went to next level for the first time. And
that was recently, right?
No, that was my 3rd time. It was the first
time.
Okay. Yeah, I went there 3 times, but the first time I went there last October, October 18, I ran into Smug in my 2nd round. The first round was already tough. There's no free wins in the next level, just to let y'all know. And I got to beat Smug. I beat Chris Battles, he's the #1 ranked Vega player in Street Fighter V.
Nice.
And then I beat Idom all in the same night, back to back to back, and nobody knew who I was. And it was just like there was a lot of pop-offs, and people were surprised, and I saw the facial expressions of some of these people, like their eyes were wide, looking at me crazy, but I ended up finishing 3rd in that tournament, and that was after ECT and before, I think, Canada Cup. I think it was in between those two, so there was a lot of strong players there. And I just had a good day. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it like I'm better than these guys, because I did run into Chris Battle again the second time I went, and he beat me. And I don't fucking watch me the second time, the most recent time we played. So, it's not me saying that I'm any better than these tournaments, but I had my moment there. I had a terrible time in ECT for me personally. And I was just like, whatever. If I go in 0-2, F it. If not, and that was my best moment right there. But I have tons of, it's just like locally, and I think every event I've been to, I had great moments, to be honest. Some worse than others, but a lot of great moments, and I make the best of it every time. I had fun the last time I went to Donatos.
Yeah.
I just make the best of like all these moments, because you just got to create the moments. That's how I look at it.
I have a very specific memory of my good tournament memory.
Go for it.
Last year at Combo Breaker, so Combo Breaker also always has a character auction where it's basically how it sounds. Like there's an auctioneer, they'll list off a character, and people in the crowd will bid ridiculous amounts of money to get their character. And then you have a tournament, like it's a single elimination tournament. So, like, one of my most cherished memories now is me going to me and my friend sitting in the crowd during the auction tournament. We snuck in water bottles full of vodka, so we were just drinking the whole time.
Yes.
And we were getting extremely drunk and just bidding on everything in the tournament. I didn't get my character, but I got into a bidding war with a guy. We got up to like $50, and he got the character, and then he lost. And I was like, man, I was upset. I would have won, but also I'm very drunk, so I probably would have lost.
And you didn't lose $50.
Yeah, fair.
$50.
But yeah, that was my my favorite experience was getting into that auction tournament at Combo Breaker last year. It was very fun.
I didn't put no money on that. I was actually sitting on the left, but because the last auction they did last year in Combo Breaker, I think it was in the left side of the venue, like face the front. And I was running casuals there, and I heard the auction, and I heard the money that people were putting in. And for certain characters, I was already confused about it. So I said, you know what? I'm not even participating in that. That just looks like a bad,
There were a couple characters that got over $100. I was like, okay, I'm not that dedicated.
Yeah.
What game was it?
This was the Tekken auction. They had an auction for every game, but I was sitting in on Tekken.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
My favorite auction that I've seen, this was only on stream, but I think it was at a Combo Breaker, was a Marvel 3 mystery auction where they just had a team name for every team of characters.
Yeah, that was a Combo Breaker.
Tell you the characters.
Oh, wow.
Although one of them was named, this is the team that has Dante on it.
Did it have Dante on it?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be pretty funny to be like,
if it wasn't,
it was Dante on it, and have it not be Dante, and not have Dante on it. That'd be pretty funny.
Oh.
Okay, so Travis shared one, Chris shared one. Dominic, do you have one?
Oh, I definitely have a story of my favorite tournament memory, and it actually has to do with playing games too.
Okay, go for it.
Playing too many games, actually. So last year at Michigan Masters, last year at Michigan Masters, let's just say I did meet my goal of winning a set in every game I entered, which was Catherine, Nitro Plus Blasters side tournament, Arcana Heart, and Smash 4. Now, the problem came with Smash 4 and Arcana Heart. Both of those games were pretty small entrance-wise and only had one pool. Both pools were happening at the same time.
Oh,
yeah, I was definitely the only person who was in both games, so there's not really much they could have done to avoid that in scheduling. But, I mean, I did my part. I let both TOs know beforehand that, hey, I'm in two different games right at the same time. But it still ended up being a problem. So, they started off losing a match in Smash, then I went and lost the first match in Arcana Heart, then, I won my first match in Arcana Heart, and that was where the problem started. So I won in round 1 of Winners in Arcana Heart, and then I couldn't play again immediately, so I went to go play my first round Losers in Smash. The previous day, I'd played against a guy who was playing Ness and in friendlies, and said that, yeah, probably the optimal way for me to play this matchup is to just go for a timeout when I have a percent lead. Because I was playing me Gunner with moveset restrictions, because I'm not going to get into the whole moveset restrictions for me fighters thing in Smash, but suffice to say, all my neutral tools could heal him because Ness has a magnet that will absorb energy projectiles.
This is a down B, right?
Yeah. And me Gunner is all
that.
about using a bunch of projectiles that are energy based. So I really could not play neutral against Ness, so my best strategy is to run away. Guess who I had to play round one of losers? This same Ness player.
Awesome.
Game 1, true to form, went to timeout and I won. Game 2 also went to timeout and I lost because I screwed up at the last second, and he got the last hit in to take a lead. So there's your first 6 minutes, 12 minutes plus the time to enter name tags for controls. Oh, and then before game 2, he wanted to counterpick to the stage Dreamland. It turned out the setup we were playing on, for whatever reason, didn't have Dreamland on it because that's a DLC stage.
Oh my gosh.
So we had to switch setups, remake name tags, remake me fighters, because I play the creative character. And
dude, this is like a 40-minute set at this point.
Yeah, so in game time, this was at least 17 minutes total.
Holy crap.
Plus all this other time. So game 3, mercifully, did not go to time, only took a little over 5 minutes, and I won. By the time game 3 finished, most of the Arcana Heart bracket players were in the Smash room watching my match because they'd run literally every other game they could, and were waiting on me because I was holding up the entire bracket.
Amazing.
So after that, I had to go back to Arcana Heart, lost to Zach quickly, then lost to another guy not so quickly, and was out, and then went back to Smash, where I was sort of holding up their brackets too. I was already holding up the brackets by having a 25-minute set in round 1 of losers, and then I had to go play it through another bracket where I was still in winners before I could come back to Smash.
Oh my
goodness. That's my tournament story of how I didn't go 0-2 in either game, but it would have made everyone else's life easier if I had.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I got a question for you about that. When you had that moment where it took like 30 minutes, did it take you off your game? Did it help you? How was that for you?
I don't think it mattered because I had the whole match of losing to Zach to warm up for Arcana Heart again until I had to play a match I could actually win. So, Zach is the main Arcana Heart player here in Columbus. He's also, top 3 in the country.
Oh,
Mr. 2 for those that know gamer tags.
Yeah. Excalibur. Sometimes he enters stuff as Excalibur. I don't know. But I knew I had no chance at beating him. I take, 1 in 20 games against him, I'll take a round. So I don't think it really threw off my game that much going back and forth. It maybe threw me off Smash a little bit when I had to go back to that. But it's obviously not an ideal situation, but I think going between 2 different games where I was using the same controller probably would have thrown me off a whole lot more, because I definitely do have a hard time switching between control schemes across different games I play on stick. And
yeah, it's kind of like me going from Tekken to going Dead or Alive. One game has a block button, one doesn't, so that kind of will screw you up.
I've also found that playing games with a block button on stick is nearly impossible. If I don't have a trigger so I can block with my left hand instead of my right hand, I just terrible at it. But yeah, I definitely do try to make a point of, when I have time, taking time to warm up into different games between them, because that's just a good idea to play your best. But yeah, that's my favorite tournament story.
Travis, you want to go next? Oh wait, you already shared yours. Antonio, you want to go next?
Okay. So my favorite tournament story actually goes along with it's not actually being in a tournament, because none of my favorite tournament stories actually involve me being in a tournament. Like I said, it's always something around the tournament. But this one was actually me just kind of getting into it. Like I said, I was a new player, didn't know anybody, didn't even know you needed to bring your own controller to a tournament.
Oops.
So I actually brought my Xbox with me. And so, like, the first day one, guys explained to me, like, oh, yeah, you're going to need to bring a controller. Okay, that's cool. So I bring my Xbox controller with a sync cable, thinking, like, oh, yeah, you can just hook this thing up to a PlayStation 4, no problem. Because why would they make you buy anything else, cheapskates?
Yeah,
and so I get there, and I'm trying to hook my Xbox controller up into a PlayStation 4 for the first time ever. It's not working at all. And my pool is in, like, 20 minutes. So I'm like stuck. I'm dead in the water. I'm asking TOs, like, do you guys have controllers? They're like, nope. Maybe you can borrow one from somebody else. Maybe somebody will rent you one. Maybe all these other scenarios. But I'm there by myself. So it's like, all right, none of this stuff is really helping me right now. So luckily enough, some people I had met the night before were walking through the venue. So I run up to them. I explain the situation, like, hey, man, my pool's in like 20 minutes. Like, I don't have no controller. Is there anything that you guys could do? Like, you guys can let me borrow a controller or something like that. So one of the dudes was like, yeah, my pool's not for like another hour or so. So yeah, I'll let you borrow my controller. Lets me borrow his controller. We exchanged numbers. He actually kind of sat with me and watched me. I think that was because, he was actually eyeing his controller. But it was cool because he's a little supportive too. And, I got 0-2'd. I got 0-2'd. And then after that, I gave him back his controller. And we just essentially hung out the rest of the weekend. I bought the dude lunch. I think I bought him like a bottle of something for like hooking me up with his controller. Because my whole thing was like, yo, man, you didn't have to do that. I could have just got DQ'd for not being able to use the equipment. And then I would have just got 0-2'd, and that would have been that. But you let me hook your controller up. You show some hospitality towards me, some friendship, and you let me use your equipment to play, and I appreciated that. And since then, like I said, those were the guys that I actually went to Evo with as well later on that year.
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier. Like, that's you. If you're just like a slight bit outgoing, you'll meet new people and have fun at majors.
Yes, you will.
I'd say for me, my favorite tournament memory, anybody that went to Combo Breaker 18 probably heard about this, but it was the double KO proposal.
Oh, yeah, I actually saw that live, yeah.
Yeah, so context, it was the Super Turbo Top 8. I wanted to watch it, and Ty, my friend who I went with, especially wanted to watch it because he grew up playing Super Turbo, and Alex Valle was on the top 8. So the final game is Valle on loser's side and then El Trouble on winners playing Dalcim, and Trouble wins, and it was a really good final game. So Ty and I just looked at each other like, how are you going to follow up something that great? So then Trouble's then girlfriend Killer Miller comes up, who was also in the top 8, by the way. She was like, hi there, I'm Killer Miller. For those of you who don't know, El Trouble and I have been dating for 12 years. He's a wonderful dude. He's the reason I got into Smash. Goes on a bit of a speech. Then she gets out on a knee and proposes to him. And it makes this face like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that, but like in a good way. Like his face became a meme for a while. It was great. And then he's like, well, I wasn't expecting this right now. So then he reaches to his backpack. He pulls out a wedding ring and he proposes to her because I think he was planning to propose to her at like the end of the event. So they basically both proposed to each other on stage, the Super Turbo Top 8 stage at Combo Breaker, and it was wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, Ty and I just looked at each other. We're like, so that's how you follow up a killer top 8. That was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that's amazing right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, Trouble and
but
Killer
did
Miller
they say
can't make
yes?
it. Oh, they both said yes. Yeah, they both said yes. Yeah, they're getting married, I think, later this year. They unfortunately can't make it to Combo Breaker this year because of moving to a new house together, but yeah, it was cool. I've mentioned multiple times on Twitter that is one of my favorite things I've seen. They're both like, aw, thank you.
Nah, I can't marry someone who'll counter my proposal with their own proposal. That's just they're way too forward.
Counter your proposal with a proposal.
That's why we called it the double KO proposal. I don't remember who came up with that nickname, but that was pretty great.
Did they both keep the rings, or did they count one proposal?
That
They
is a
put
good
the other?
question because rings are expensive.
Well,
I'm not. You would probably have to ask them on Twitter. Like, you know what, Travis? If you'd like ask them on Twitter, when I do the editing for this, I will like say, and I don't even know like what their response was.
Okay.
All right. So I guess to wrap this up, for everybody here, advice you'd give to, once again, to get to a new player going out. Like if you could say one thing to somebody who's been maybe playing fighters for not even a year. Let's say if you were somebody who had been playing for maybe about a year, came up to you at locals today and said, "I'm going to Combo Breaker this weekend. What advice would you give me?" What would you say? Start with Christian again. Unless you need a sec.
I think I might need a second, like because that's
Unfortunately, they would have already signed up for stuff. If you're going to Combo Breaker or any event in Chicago specifically, enter Mystery Tournament. It's by far the best event they have.
Oh yes,
but that's not really general advice.
Still a good one though. Still some good advice though.
I would just say, if you're going to Combo Breaker or if you're traveling anywhere, don't stay in the venue the whole weekend. Take time to go see the city.
Go see, yeah.
Though, on the contrary, do stay in the venue hotel if you can, because not having to like drive a quarter mile away or however far it is to go to sleep is really nice also.
Yeah, that is nice. But yeah, in general, if you're traveling to a tournament, just, go enjoy the city that you're in. Enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, like I would just say get the best bang for your buck. Like if you're just only focused on just the tournament match, you're not getting the best bang for your buck. It does cost a lot, so if you're spending hundreds of dollars to get the hotel plus the venue fee and all and to play, do more than that. Like Travis said, go out, enjoy the city, try some good restaurants, hang out with some friends, just have a good time, just have a few good laughs, get some training in too while you're at it too, like run some casuals, just best bang, yeah, that's it. Just get the best bang for your buck.
Okay, I just want to put out before we continue, Christian, when you were starting out, your mic cut off for a brief second, so it sounded like you said, make sure to get the best bang.
Yeah, make sure to
Gloves.
Make sure to get the best bang. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you have to get the best bang, make sure you use protection.
Yeah.
No, you any other character in Guilty Gear except Bang. Oh wait, no, he's BlazBlue.
It's BlazBlue, yeah.
Chip's Guilty Gear. Yeah.
I would say,
or is it BlazBlue? Because I heard people call it BlazBlue too.
BlazBlue.
Yeah.
Might as well call it BlazBlue with how blah it could be at times. Shots fired, bang bang. No. I'd say my advice would be, like I said, go there to learn, not to win. Like if you don't keep a journal, keep a journal. Keep note of how you felt, the good and the bad, things you can learn, anything you think is awesome. And drink plenty of water. You never know. Yes.
Yeah, water.
Combo Breaker last year, Travis. I'm sure you remember this. Remember how the venue AC wasn't working for like the first day and a half?
Yeah, basically.
I'm so glad I don't play Smash competitively, because I'm sure the Melee crowd in that would have been the worst.
Just bring personal hygiene. Have
yes,
personal hygiene. Have a nice book bag. Like a little to go bag of your clothes or whatever you need. Have enough for at least, if the venue's like 3 days, bring clothes for 4 or 5 days or 4. Just bring an extra set just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does get hot. You might sweat a lot. You might have to change your clothes in between the event. Sometimes. But like for me, I'm all right. But like I'm just like in general, just make sure you have enough clothes, personal hygiene, water. Extra money. Make sure you have extra money outside. So you could cover yourself, because there were some instances of like people that I run into. They're short on money on something. So you got to prepare financially and like all around.
Call your bank beforehand and let to let them know that if you'll be using your credit card in another state, because sometimes it can
Yeah, they
get
can
really
lock you,
suspicious if you.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, that is a very good
That is
point.
very
I'm glad you
true.
brought that up. Yeah, don't know how
And-
many times when I worked at Chipotle, I ran into that situation. Somebody was visiting from out of state and they couldn't pay for their dang burrito.
Yeah, I mean that's getting into more just general travel tips, but it's also a good tip.
And if you're at a restaurant, that might allow you to make a good tip.
So funny. So funny. That's such a dad joke. And trust me, I'm a dad. That's such a dad joke.
So I guess, does anybody have other last minute thoughts, things you want to say? Want to get the last word?
No, man. Just if you're a new player and you're thinking about going to a major or starting to go to your local, and you have some sort of apprehension about it, just don't. Just go, do it, and see what happens.
You
Sounds
never know
good
when
to me.
you never know when you
Yeah.
might get an autograph from one of your favorite players. You know,
That's true too.
I'd say
That's
after the
true,
double
too.
KO proposal, my favorite memory was meeting Lost Soul and getting him to sign my journal. That was great.
Yeah, the big players are there, and they are not jerks. They will kind of stop and let you take pictures and do all the fanboy stuff. They will do that for you too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say like I'm not an autograph person, but I do have pictures with people. Definitely
Yes.
a picture person.
All right, well then I guess with that, this has been Felicia.
Are we doing the order of the
I-
list here?
Yeah, I guess we'll go by that. This
Let's
has
go
been
to the list
Felicia.
order. Gotcha.
Okay, this has been Felicia.
This is Hitman.
This is Dominic, also known as Meaninglessname.
This is 151.
Do we get Christian? I thought he cut out there.
No, I said Hitman. It's me, Hitman.
Okay, gotcha. And this is Travis, aka the Perfidious Sin.
And we will see y'all next time. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
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 All right, later.
Hey y'all, this is Felicia again. Just want to say thanks again for listening to the show. 614 Punch is a Patreon supported show. Check out our Patreon to see how you can get a shout out on the show, hear episodes early, or potentially even be on the show. But whether or not you're a patron, just want to say thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.